Are we waiting for some?
Ma'am, at 3:35 will start now, sharp.
Okay.
Good evening to all, honorable guest and speaker of the day, Madam Bala, respected board of directors of Panchatantra Planet, all my dear principals, teachers, and all other participants of the day. Good evening to one and all. It is my immense pleasure, honor, and privilege to welcome you all to this occasion. We all know that for the past 2 years, we had been traveling in the midst of pandemic COVID-19, which created a desperate impact and also an exacerbating, widening gap in the learning outcome. Yet, Panchatantra Planet has been a wonderful platform to enrich, to empower, and to enlighten in the field of education leadership. Across the nation, after this pandemic fall, now school bells also, we know that have been summoned and students are also back to the platform of classrooms. Today, we would like to have a special session by Madam Bala, who is a renowned, eminent, and also acclaimed online remedial coach who have been running the remedial world and Udemy for the learning disabilities. We will all can see the achievements in Google also, where we have immense to say about Madam. Better than me, I would like to ask Ma'am to introduce herself better in this wonderful platform. Today, we would like to have the learning disabilities, the tools to be taken, to be addressed, and facilitating the learning disability in a very different way, and the beauty of inclusive schools where we should never brand children, but only brand clothes. I'm profoundly delighted to take this opportunity to welcome Madam Bala to this occasion. We are highly inspired with your expertise, knowledge in every way possible, and you had been a cynosure in the field of counseling. No words of praise to be more than this. Your presence here on this occasion shows your true commitment to the promotion of access to quality, inclusive education for all our children. I would like to invite you back to enlighten us with your words of true wisdom. On this occasion, I would also wholeheartedly welcome all the boards of Panchatantra Planets, the directors, the teachers, principals, and all other participants. Once again, I welcome you all to this occasion. Now, the platform of branding clothes but not children, Madam Bala will be enlightening us. Thank you, ma'am. I kindly invite you to have the session to be started. Now the session is yours. Thank you so much. We are really blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Binimoon and Mr. Venkateswaran. And first of all, thank you so much to Mr. Shelet, who had introduced me to your platform. You all are doing great. I did go through a lot of videos of the previous speakers, and I was really impressed and inspired by the various topics that's been covered. And we are doing so much to bring in Gyan, knowledge, experience for our teachers, principals, children, and parents. Thank you so much once again. I have been a very fortunate person in this world, I would say, to get connected to thousands and thousands of children, hundreds and thousands of teachers, thousands of principals in my journey. I'm really blessed to have met wonderful, wonderful people from whom I've learned a lot. So all my pranam to all my gurus who brought me till here, right from a child who's 3-year-old whom I met as a teacher to the person who brought me to the earth. All pranam to you. So I begin my session with this. So when I just logged in, I saw the title written brand clothes, not children. And I loved the spelling of clothes because something was missing and still we could read it. The E was missing in clothes, in the slide that was displayed. And generally, many years ago, I would criticize it, but today I appreciate it because whether the E is there or not, we can still read it. So why so much of emphasis on these small things and give trouble to our children? This is what we'll be talking about in this session today. And do I have the sharing facility so that I could share my presentation? Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much once again for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself, because it's a very, the XYZ to be said. I thought I'll do it in a different way because I love doing it this way. So I'll just start my journey from my class 3. As student of class 3, this is my photograph, and I was learning slowly. I won't give it a term as slow learner, but I was learning slowly in the sense I repeated class 3 twice because my parents and the school teachers felt that I was not able to cope up with the academic of that age. Well, I was never ever a bright kid. I was always an average kid, happy doing my academics in whatever way I could, and carried on with my class 10 and 12th, as all of you did, with support of great teachers. But I was always interested in sports. So I did my 10, in my class 12, I got the opportunity to play basketball for nationals. And I'm a student of Kendriya Vidyalaya. So I did my KV nationals in basketball, joined my college there again. As I was interested in sports and not in classroom, I joined NCC. And I spent all my 3 years in NCC, very less time in the classroom. During that time, I got opportunity to participate in many camps. I was selected as the best cadet of Andhra Pradesh because I studied there, and then got the opportunity to participate in Republic Day Parade and go abroad too. After I came back, I decided to do my B.Ed because I loved teaching always. So I did my B.Ed, and this is my first school where I joined. I loved working with teenagers because that's the chance my principal gave me at the age of 21. I started teaching class 10th and 12th at a very early age where I wasn't even prepared, I thought. So they made a lot of fun of me because of my non-competency in managing them. But I would thank them today. They must be all above 45 today. I would thank them because it was they who taught me how to manage them. And that journey really was amazing. I worked there for 6 years. Sooner, I got married and moved into the city where I live today. I live in Gujarat in a city called Surat. Here, I directly got the opportunity to become the principal of a school, the founding principal of the school. I'm sure most of you must have heard of the name of the school. Maybe some of you are working there and are participating here. So I was the founder principal here. I joined in the year 2000 and completed. I stayed there till 7 years. We started with about 200 kids. By the time in the 7 years, I had 4 branches with 12,000 children total. So I was responsible for all of them with ICSE, CBSE, SSC, and IGCSE board. These are some of the amazing memories of my journey. But you know what? It's not about what I did. It's about what I went through. What I went through was, why do some kids struggle in class? This is something I, from the time I started teaching as in my first school till I was continuing as a principal, this question used to bother me a lot. Why is it that some kids cannot do well in classroom? Mine was a school which got the award of the best school. I got many best principal award, blah, blah, blah. But what happens when wonderful parents come with their children to the school for admission and they are not able to get their child to the best level? And I would feel terrible about it. I'm sure all of you must have gone through this. And I'm sure all of you, heads of schools, teachers, parents, must have done something to help these kids. Take, take just 30 seconds, close your eyes and think, what all have you done and what all are you doing today to identify these kids in the classroom and help them out to overcome their challenges. I'll just be quiet for 30 seconds. I'm not looking for answers, but I'm sure the answers are there in your mind. What do you do? We counsel them, we talk to them, we take them aside, we try to find out what's their problem, we call the parents, we punish them, we motivate them, we degrade them. I don't know, because I did all this. And I could not answer the questions. So what did I do? I resigned. I felt useless sitting on that chair with 12,000 children with a list of awards against my name and the name of the school. I felt worthless of being there. And that made me resign the job. My management would never understand, why am I quitting? At the peak of my career, I quit. Did it solve the problem? Well, it did to some extent. How? Post that, I did my research with B.Ed colleges to find out whether this is taught in our B.Ed colleges then in the year 2007. Whether we are teaching about how to deal with children who are weak and studies being addressed was a question that I used to ask myself. My research with 25 B.Ed colleges of South Gujarat said that it wasn't. The results were zero. We are not doing enough to address this problem. That made me move into working towards it, but well, working with government is not, it's not me. So I decided to start a charitable trust in the year 2008 and admit only children who had 3 subjects failure in their report card. That's the criteria. So I went, as I already people knew me as head of school, I went around telling everybody, if you have kids who are failing and who are not interested, not able to cope up with studies, please send them to me. And that's how I started getting admissions. And this is just one of the pictures of the journey. Today, all these children are entrepreneurs, architects, engineers, professors, scholars, businessmen, beauticians, you name them, they are there. Sooner I started another institution called Vedas Ignite, where again the concept was inclusive education. Any child who wanted to study there could study, any child. And I had a separate curriculum for each child. Every child learned at their own pace, which means if you want to study 3 years in 3 years curriculum in 1 year, you were allowed to do that. And again, because of all this, the government of Gujarat asked me to set up a similar setup in Gandhinagar for slum children. So now I run another center for slum children where all the school dropouts of government schools are studying there. You can see the picture, and they are all appearing their board exams through NIOS. At least 60% of them have already cleared their class 10th and class 12. This is one of the most recent pictures where I recently visited there and had some fun with them. Well, that wasn't enough, because having small batches of institutions with 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 will not address the need of this nation. So I decided to move into teacher education, and I traveled across the country in last 15 years, from north to south, east to west, conducting workshops and trainings and programs and seminars, blah, 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 across the country, and trained more than 30,000 teachers till now. I am still on a mission to cover as many as I can. So what's the aim? To identify these kids in the classroom and to help them. During that time, I was covered by media for a lot of things. We did a drama called Ek Baat Ankahi, which was highly selected, appreciated by the local public of my city, and it also got selected at the National School of Drama. As I'm an NCC cadet, I do spend a lot of time conducting workshops on my NCC training. I'm a recipient of 3 state awards, 5 national awards, and 3 international awards. Nothing great about these awards. The journey has been fantastic. That's me. Thank you so much. I'm a master's in education, master's in economics. I've done my MPhil in learning disability. Spent 30 years, time and money invested myself on upgrading myself. And I have my online platform called LD Remedial World, through which I coach, train teachers and parents in the online mode so that they can help their children to overcome learning disability. Thank you so much for patiently listening to my journey. Through Udemy, I was able to reach teachers of 110 countries who have done my programs and thankfully given me a great feedback that they were able to help their children. Today's session is all about brand clothes, not children. So let me ask you, what's an inclusive teacher? Because we say beauty of an inclusive school. How do we make the school beautiful? By having all teachers in the school inclusive teachers. So what's an inclusive teacher? According to the new education policy, inclusive teacher is supposed to be who knows about how to deal children with gender identity, socio-cultural identity, children from different geographical identity, and children from different socio-economic identity. And I'm sure most of you must be already doing that. My concern is not the first 4. My concern is the last one. Children coming from different disabilities. Now, the RPWD Act 2016, as most of you would know, says that now children from these 21 disabilities are allowed to study in regular schools. The law is great. Implementation and the study and the action for that is what is challenging. So whenever I meet a bunch of teachers and ask them, do you even know the names of these disabilities, leave alone how to deal with them? Just the names. Locomotor, leprosy, thalassemia, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy. Let me ask you all also. I would love if you can chat and tell me honestly how many disabilities you know about. There are 99 participants as of now. Just put your numbers, how many disabilities you are aware of. You may be a special educator. You may be a regular teacher. You might be a principal. You might be a counselor. It doesn't matter. How many disabilities you know about? Lata says 10. Lalita, okay, Lalita says 10. Sukumar 9. Sushma 9. Raji 6. Ashwini 9. Shruti 12. 15 seconds, I'll wait for a few more answers because technology takes time. 10, 9, 8, 16, 12. Fantastic. 14. Thank you. So we know the names. Do we know how it occurred? Do we know how to deal with these kids? Do we know how to handle them? Let me tell you, even our special educators don't know it, leave alone regular teachers. Principals, I don't expect only because there's so much on the chair. So special educators don't know it would be surprising to many. Why they don't know it? Because I'm sure all of you know. 2 years of special education, they specialize in one disability. If you ask them your B.Ed what, they would say I'm B.Ed visual impairment or B.Ed hearing impairment or intellectual disability or one of them. Which means they specialize in one, but they're supposed to address all. It's like a heart specialist is expected to address the challenging problems of every part of the organ. I don't have answers to these questions. I only keep asking these questions because answers we have to find out together. Now, when we say that children are studying in our regular schools, this is the statistics of 2018-19. 1% hearing impairment kids are already there in school. 1%. For a country like India, 1% is in millions. Autism, 11%. Speech and language delay, 19. And look at the lovely red line, my favorite word. Specific learning disability, there are 33% of children already in the school. 33%. So what's learning disability? And do we know about it? How do we identify these kids? Where are they? How do you look at them and tell them that they are learning disability? Because looking at a visually impaired person, you can tell you this child has some problem with his eyes, this child has some problem with hearing, this child has some problem with his mental ability, this child cannot walk, blah, blah, blah. But how do you identify a child with learning disability? So what are we going to do? What are we going to do in this session is what is learning disability? What are its causes? How do you identify them? What are the how do you identify them in regular class? Types of learning disability, remedial solutions, success stories, and the benefits of having LD children studying in an open schooling system. So what's learning disability? Many of you might know it. It is a disorder where the child is not able to cope up with basic reading, writing, and maths. It's not in primary or pre-primary, even in class 9, 10. How did they reach there? You know the answers better. Why can't they read like a ninth grader, Why does a ninth grader read like a second grader? And in fact, by the time he reaches class 9, he stops reading. So before we know more about it, how did this child have it? How did the child get learning disability? The research says no real one reason. It could be heredity. It could have come from the parents somewhere in the previous generation. It could be due to some medicine the mother consumed and when the child was in the embryo stage. It could be some other medical reason. It could be also due to environment. So is the child to be blamed? No, but it's the child who gets blamed throughout his life. So stupid hai, you are an idiot, you're a fool, you're lazy, you're dumb. These are the most common words used by adults like me to address these kids. And they, over a period of time, they accept. But let me tell you, none of these words are applicable to these kids, because when we talk about their IQ, they fall in an average IQ just like you and me, which means I'm sure most of you or all of you know about the IQ distribution, how the psychologists assess IQ. So if our IQ is between 90 and 109, we are called average. And I think all of us are average, or maybe above average or high average or superior. But other children who come under maybe autism or maybe intellectual disability or other disabilities fall below that line, which means their ability to learn, read, write, study, move on in academics is much lower compared to a normal child. But our learning disabled child is a normal child. His IQ is average. So if he's average, which means he can think just like you and me. So do they need help? Yes, they need help. To help them, we need to know what is the problem with them and what's that problem. It comes in the 4 categories: dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and dyspraxia. There are many more, but we categorize in these 4. So a problem which is got with reading, writing, that's called dyslexia. Those with maths, it's called dyscalculia. Children who suffer with writing, it's called dysgraphia. And children who have problem with motor coordination, fine motor and gross motor, that comes under dyspraxia. So let's understand what are the way we can assess these children in the classroom, because you cannot look at a child and say the child has learning disability. Our topic is brand clothes, not children. So I'll be reminding this again and again. Why is this beautiful topic selected by one of the directors? Why we are not supposed to brand children? When we do this assessment, there are 2 ways the assessment is done. One is an informal assessment, which is done by a teacher in a school or a parent or a counselor. And the other one is a formal assessment, which is done by a clinical psychologist, expert in this field. So how is an informal assessment done? Simple. The teachers are supposed to be great observers. They observe why a child is struggling so much in writing or reading or not able to read age appropriate content or curriculum. The teacher should raise a question to herself, not to the child. Why you can't read? Why my child is not able to read? Although he is at this or that age. Presently, because of this online last 2 years of online classes, many children are not able to read. I hear so many parents coming to me for help, but they are not dyslexic. That's because of lack of practice. That's because of lack of exposure. That's because of lack of the time spent on reading and writing, or probably the strategies not reach them because of online. But these kids are very different. So a teacher can identify it with taking the information from a parent, from the parents, from other teachers, from counselors, and a general observation, and even the other peer in the classroom. But a formal assessment is supposed to be done by a clinical psychologist only. Yeah, some counselors are equipped to do that. So we don't need to know much about how and what it is done, but there are so many kinds of tests available today through which the assessments are done. Like for dyslexia, I showed you a list. This is for dysgraphia. How do you identify the child has dysgraphia? How do you identify a child falls under the category of dyscalculia? So for assessment of reading, which a teacher can do in the classroom, is though the child has reached primary, but still cannot identify some letters and sounds, cannot read, differentiate between a word like M-A-T or M-A-T-E. Both sound the same to them. They don't understand whether the T-E exists or not. While reading a sentence, they'll skip lines. They can't complete a whole passage. They'll read skipping words. They'll guess the words. They'll ignore punctuation, comma, full stop, apostrophe, exclamation. Nothing exists for them. No directions while they are writing. They'll write, start somewhere and end somewhere. So when a teacher observes all this from pre-primary to class 9, he or she should wake up as to there's something the child needs help in. This is our reading brain. When we say we are reading, we do not read just with eyes. All of you know this, that different parts of the brain are put into action when we read. When all of this works in sync is when we are able to read well. But suppose the connection between these parts in the brain are not the way it's designed or designed differently by God. How do we expect the child to read like you and me? Cannot. Is it his fault? No, it's not, but he suffers. How do you assess writing now? The child will have a very different pencil grip. The pencil will keep falling from the child's hand. Alphabets will be written in any direction. In the pre-primary expert teachers know very well that every alphabet has a starting and an ending point. It's supposed to be written in a particular way, but these kids write it differently. Their handwriting is illegible. You can't read what they write. Ask them to write an essay. Their essay will be like 3 to 4 lines. Their sentences will have 2 to 3 words. Again, while writing, no punctuation. The same vocabulary is repeated over and over again because of lack of vocabulary. They do not have many synonyms. That's why they use the same word. And they themselves confused with many words and vocabulary. And they're okay to write like that. Like many times I hear teachers saying, you don't understand, you've written it wrong. No, I don't understand because I don't know it's wrong. That's the reaction of the child. And of course, the speed of writing is extremely, extremely weak. So the question is, will they remain like that? No, they don't. I'll tell you how they will not remain like that later. But now let me tell you about maths. Challenge class 9. They don't even know basic computation skills. How did they reach class 9? I don't need to answer that question. They don't know the difference between the 4 symbols, plus, minus, multiplication and division. Plus and multiplication look the same for them. Actually, it's just twisted, right? Division and minus, remove the dots, it's the same for them. And sometimes they don't look at the dot. You put a division sign, they will minus and give you the answer. Maths, it says maths, but maths has so much of vocabulary, especially the problem sums. You have to read so much to understand what the question is. So when the challenge itself is reading, how does a child understand the problem sums? Hence, cannot solve. The same word add is used in 7 to 10 different words like total, average, sum, add. The child cannot understand that they're all meaning the same. They think each word is different and they don't attempt the questions in the exam. So does that mean these kids are dumb? They'll remain like this. They won't do anything in academics. Will they always be challenged like this? No. But unfortunately, we call them lazy. We call them dumb. We call them stupid. This is how we identify them. But as I said, they're all average or above average intelligence. Many children with ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, a very common word used by many people today, have learning disability, many of them. Do we think they work less? Because that's exactly what most parents and teachers tell me. Ma'am, they don't work hard. They don't put in enough effort. But let me tell you, they work 5 times. That's what the research says, 5 times harder than you and me. Because if we can just look at a word and read, for them to read a 4-letter word, they need to really make an effort, because like in that movie, it says Tare Zameen Par, the letters are dancing. That's what that boy says, Darshan. And that's exactly how these kids see these letters. They are moving or dancing. So how do they read this? Is it the same like autism or hearing or visual impairment? Not at all. Learning disability is a very different disability. These kids are very, very intelligent. Because they're intelligent, but they're not good at studies, who cares for the intelligence? Because in India, your report cards matter. And if your report cards don't show good scores, you're not wanted. And that's why they lack confidence. They break in teenage. They also attempt to commit suicide. Whatever I'm saying is not from the books, but the experience I've had working with these children for the last 15 years. I know more than 500 stories that they tell me what they went through in their schools. Lack of interest in going to school. So the parent says this child can do everything but study. He watches TV, plays video games, he goes for his football classes, he does his music classes, cooks well, he helps me. But madam, when I give him a book, he doesn't study. So what do we think? We think he doesn't want to study, but that's not the fact. So it's not a disease. There is no cure. Because it's not a disease, there is no cure, but it's a condition. Because it's a condition, it is treatable. The child can be helped. And most of these kids are right brain. And that's why when they grow up, if we help them with their right brain abilities, many of them have turned out to be artists, dramatists, theater personalities, entrepreneurs, in fact, even scientists. So, what are they going through? They're going through a lot of emotional issues, depression, low self-esteem, and after some time, they move into drugs, crime, and one of my visits to juvenile homes proved it, that 96% of children that year when I visited were suffering with learning disability. Does any child do crime by purpose? Is any child born bad? Is any child born criminal? No. So who made him criminal? Why did this child attempt to do a crime? Are these questions that I always ask. And the answer is, I myself. Me as an adult, me as a teacher, me as a parent. Otherwise, why would a child attempt to get into crime? Somewhere I missed out in helping this child. 35% of students are school dropouts. When they're little babies, the parents take them to school happily, admiring that they'll study there till class 12, bring pride. But then somewhere midway, the schools ask them to leave or the parents opt to leave. And that's how many of them happen to reach my institution. So you will want to know what are the tools to help them? Now you know how do you identify them? Any normal parent, any normal child, teacher can identify them. So I'll come back to, there are some questions coming, but I think I'll answer all of them in the end because the flow will be lost and we'll unnecessarily move into discussion. So my question here is, do you need to label them? Once you have identified, is it important that we have to label the child or we have to tell the parent that this child has a problem? This is a fight I am going through in this country because I did not label and I did not tell the parent. Because as a teacher, I think I have a lot of power. I have a lot of power to help the child and nobody can stop me from helping the child. Without telling a parent, I would help the child. Once I knew that there is a problem and I know the solution. And if the child is able to, if the child is able to get the problem solved, overcome it, read well, why do you even need to tell anybody that he has a problem? Our topic, brand clothes, not children. We can help a child without labeling them. Because once we label them, in our staff rooms, in our normal conversation, oh, that boy with LD, oh, that boy with dyslexia, oh, that girl with dysgraphia. This is how it goes on. And that word is caught by all. And the child lives with that word. It's important to know that, yes, I have a problem. But it's not important to be told to me every time. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to deal with it. This is what I believe, and I've been doing it for the last 15 years. It's helped. And hence you will see my institutions never had this name disability anywhere. One institution was called Prayas and the other was called Vedas. Because I did not want any child to move out of my institution and feel bad later in college that, oh, I was studying here. Or when he's standing in an engineering college, because my boys and girls have gone everywhere. They asked them, where was your schooling? I never wanted a child to say I was studying in a special school. Whatever we say, this word is scary. It's really scary. Because when you grow up and you use this word and something goes wrong, some mistake is done by you in your college days or anywhere, the peer around you will say, oh, you are from special school, right? We feel sorry for you. Why? Why can't the boys and girls start to fight for themselves without this label? Can we? Do you think you can? If you can, please type you can. All of you should write I can. I can help a child without branding a child. So let's move to dyslexia solutions. What is dyslexia solution? I have thousands of solutions. My time allotted is 1 hour and probably 30 minutes for question answers. I'll try to do justice to a few that I can share with you. Thank you so much for all of you actively responding to this word, I can. Before I go to solution, I want you to do an activity. I would love all of you to read this word and tell me the meaning of this word. How do you pronounce this word? Qobcoru. And what is the meaning of this word? Qobcoru. I'm sure many of you must be typing in the Google. And I'm okay. Our kids also do that. What is the meaning of this word? Is it an animal? Is it a dish? Is it a name of some tribe? Is it some star in the sky? Is it some plant? We have special educators in the audience. Thank you. There is no such word as koporu, right? This is the word which the child reads, which a dyslexic child reads when the word popcorn is written on the blackboard. When the word popcorn is written on the blackboard, this is how the child reads. The second word is baby. And the third one, yes, daddy pushed the baby's pram. Though none of you are on screen, but I can see a few of you like, ah. Imagine if every word the child has to read like this, every word. So what did the brain do at this moment? Okay, before I go to this, another question. What's Makila Boo Boo? Maybe a few of you can come on the mic and tell, or maybe even type. What is Makila Boo Boo? Okay. Sunil Kumar says a flower. Wonderful. With an audience of 100, I expect at least 10% answer. The faster you answer, the faster I move. I am hungry. Lovely. Babies express to something in their neonatal period. Perfect. I'm playing. Perfect. Makila Boo Boo. I can see many of you are not able to. The baby wants something to eat. No idea. I'm happy for all those who attempted. Claps for you. I'm concerned for all those who are thinking. So what's your brain doing when you're thinking? Your brain is decoding. Your brain is decoding that word Makila Boo Boo to something which you have already heard or something similar to that. And that is why all the answers were close to the word boo boo. Do you agree? All those who responded. You said I'm hungry because in a lot of places in babies say boo boo for food. Somebody said it's a flower. Makila sounded like a flower. So you always go back to something which you already know. And all those who did not have anything in their memory, previous memory to go back and check and could not attempt. Many of you did not attempt by choice. That's fine. So this is exactly what a brain of a dyslexic child is going through. This process of decoding is done by all of us all the time. And what's that? There are 4 areas where decoding happens. One is phonological processing, the second is verbal short-term memory, visual processing, and processing rate. When you look at a word cat, C-A-T, cat, or phonics, cat, there's these sounds and there are these images of cat. Both these blend together to form a word which goes into our memory through a processing, at a processing rate. This whole process is called decoding. Many of you may know it. Then the word is identified, then it goes to the word memory. And finally, when we show the text mapping that word, the child is able to correlate with it, or you and me is able to correlate with it. Imagine what most of you went through just now for Makila Boo Boo. The children with learning disability go through it every time. I repeat, what you went through right now is what the children with learning disability go through every time. After knowing the word also, they go through this process of remaining blank, unable to read, unable to correlate, not map with the memory. Why? Because their brain is wired different. Because their brain is unique. Because their brain can think different. So I'm sure you want to know what's Makila Boo Boo. Makila Boo Boo is a name of an insect found in Nagaland by the local language. How on earth would you know that? There are only two ways or three ways. Either you would have visited there, or you would have read about it or seen it in some movie. That's all. Or somebody must have shared something about it to you. If any of this has happened, you will know. And I'm sure none of this has happened with you. So most of you guessed. So let me come back to the reading brain again. Is this when all these different parts of the brain which has different responsibilities work in sync? The speech, the language, the letter recognition, all works in sync to us to read. And if it is not working in sync, what happens? So now, knowing their problem, let me now tell you some solutions. Do you want some solutions? Because this is for every teacher. These sessions are not limited to, in fact, should not be for special educators at all, because they have enough. They have 20 other disabilities to address. Learning disability is the maximum in our school, and it has to be done by every teacher of the school. And that's why I'm on a mission to help 100,000 parents and teachers. Now, you must have seen children who read from the top of the page, skip the second line, and go to the third line or the fourth line without even realizing they've skipped, and the whole class making fun of them. Generally, we teach children to put finger and read, the most outdated method, especially for these kids. What worked best for me was using a ruler. Keep a ruler under the line and the child will be able to read confidently. Another solution. You know how many kids read? Kias, ton, ta, wall. All the words together. All the alphabets and words joined together. And it's not once or twice, very often. So the best solution I found was giving a different color to every first alphabet. So you'll ask me, do we have to do this all the time? It's only till the child learns how to read. And that could be at any age. Suppose a child hasn't been able to read even at class 8, you will have to go to this system, this pattern, this solution, and help him to read. And then the brain adapts to that reading. Confusion with left hand and right hand. Have you seen kids struggle with left hand and right hand? I have seen many adults today also. You ask them to raise their left hand, suddenly they look right and look left and then raise their hand. Teaching both hands in preschool works for many children, but not for all. So I always advocate teach one hand. Let the child master in any one hand. That means do all the actions in that particular month or any month with that same hand. The brain registers. Automatically, we know the other hand. Why do we need to teach both hands together? How do you remember important points in any chapter, whichever class it is? So in our school system, we have this beautiful word we use when we introduce a new chapter. I don't know now, but this is what I used to see when I was heading school and I was a teacher myself. Difficult words, we declare it. Now we're going to do some difficult words. Of course, now there are new jargons that has come. But what I feel worked best for my boys and girls, and I think will work for all, is new words. Why new words? I'm hitting the psychology here. Why new words? Because new words are like new clothes, new, everything new we love. And all these kids need to learn these new words first before they move into reading. If you master them with these new words first, their reading ability is amazing. How to revise before a test, another challenge. Mind maps, or what you call graphic organizers, works like magic for all these kids. So I used to make graphic organizers from age 3 to age 18. All lessons, convert them into mind maps. Just show them mind maps, they learn very well. Are you finding value in these solutions? If yes, please type value. Before I move to dysgraphia. Thank you. So let's talk about writing. This is one of the mind maps for showing the entire concept of dysgraphia. Instead of having 10 pages, we can just have it on one slide. Just a revision of dysgraphia. Dysgraphia has to do with writing problem. How do we help them? Have you seen children write like this? Holding pencil in different ways. With all our efforts, they don't change. Sometimes they don't even change in class 9 and 10. Why I keep saying 9 and 10 is that is the age most of the children came to me because they were removed from the schools. School results get spoiled. So they gifted these kids to me. This is a tool which works like magic for these kids. Amazing, isn't it? Though it looks like a baby tool, but I've tried it till age 18. They just need to get that grip. Once they get the grip, handwriting improves. Have you seen children write like this? Many of you must have seen. Poor boy or the girl, whoever wrote this, has actually tried to write something beautiful, but I think I failed to understand to read it. Well, to help them, the 4-line book concept didn't work much for me. Not for all children. Where do you find the pencil grips? They're available in the online and offline market here. You just Google them, they're available. You can order them and they have so many variety. You can choose the color and the size as per the need of the child. Graph paper for writing. This is one magic I discovered when one of my boys failed to improve writing after making attempt for almost 3 to 4 months. I'm somebody who doesn't give up. And one day the graph paper was lying on my table for some other reason. So I just picked it up and I said, let me try with this sheet of paper. And that was like a eureka moment for me. And I share this eureka moment with every opportunity that I get to talk about. And what's that? Because I want all the teachers in the school to know that every child can write well. Every child. It's just the way we need to help them. So how do you do it? Write an alphabet, that alphabet, whichever the child is struggling in, on a graph paper. Take another graph paper and divide it into 4. Now ask the child to write in this space. Take another one and divide it into further 16 columns. Take another one and write it in this. What's the brain doing? When we are in our homes, in our bedrooms, we have the full bed, double bed, sleep and relax, isn't it? But when we travel in a train, 2nd class, 3rd class, 1st class, AC, whatever, our body fits very well in that berth. We don't spread there because the mind gives the instruction to come in that limited area. That's exact science I applied to help these children to write. It's not only alphabets, even the word they will start writing in this specific area. It doesn't happen with It doesn't happen for all kids with 4-line books, because it's that red line, blue line concept is so confusing to learning disabled children, especially with dyslexia and dysgraphia. Have you seen kids who avoid writing? Many of them, you would say. One of the reason is this. Many teachers in our country spent time on online in the last 2 years. Why am I saying this? Is my family doctor met me 3, 4, 6 months ago. And he said, as he knows I'm from education, he said, Bala ma'am, why are so many teachers coming to me nowadays for the backache, neck pain, all these problems? It's too many of them. And I said, sir, they are used to standing, walking, sitting on a chair the school provides, which is more comfortable. They're not used to sitting at home, keeping their laptop and not taking care of their health in the position that they are sitting. It's simple. Somebody in our last 2 years, the teachers have taught in their bedrooms, I don't know, sofa, wherever they felt like sitting and sat for hours. Do you agree with me? And we never cared, not me. The teachers never cared how they were sitting for 8, 10 hours. And that has only led us to poor health. This is exactly what's happening with our children. Let me ask you another question. How many homes are designed with children's furniture? How many of us as parents have actually designed the whole house as per our children's age and height? We don't. Except for their bedroom. All the furniture is adult furniture. Our children adjust to that furniture. And I don't need to explain the results. Confusion with consonant and vowels. Very common problem with these kids. Sometimes somebody asks me, why do you need to teach both? So I said, don't teach both, teach one. Wherever there are two things, I said, teach one. And use a color to teach. Wherever you write vowels, use that color only everywhere. With the color recognition, they overcome the problem and they're able to write. Slow at writing. These kids need time. Do give them extra time. And when you give them extra time in a regular classroom, it's very important to tell all the other children that he needs help. It's like somebody got a fracture, leg fracture. He wants to come to school. What would you tell all the other kids in the classroom? For next 21 days, he will need help. Why can't just we do that for this child? Tell everybody else he needs some extra time, and let's give that time to that child. He will be able to overcome his problem. Let's come into maths. Have you seen kids? Many, right? I have a very favorite question that I ask. Why are people scared of maths? Why are majority of people scared of maths? Is maths difficult? Thank you, Supriya, for your spontaneous response. I'm not waiting for the answer because the answer is scary. The maths is not difficult. The teacher is difficult. My research says the maths teachers are very dangerous. Why are they dangerous? Because the maths teachers announce like this. It is not Hindi or English, it is maths. It's a very difficult subject, okay? So sit seriously. We announce it. We announce it that it's a difficult subject. And that psychology hits every child. Okay, coming to maths problems. Can we convert all word problems into pictures till the time the child gets confidence in solving it? This is how the children who don't like maths or scared of maths go through. Writing on the body, especially in primary and pre-primary, helps them to learn tables and numbers, both. Because these kids, most of them are kinesthetic. They learn very well with visuals or kinesthetic, both. This is my favorite. Confusion with odd and even number. Very common problem. Like left and right. So I created a game to help children. Whatever is going regular in school doesn't work with these kids. So when I work with them, I try to think of a new way to deal with them. And that's how I created the entire curriculum. That's how I created the entire course for these kids. Every time they failed, I used to think of a new way to deal with it. And that's how I have in my online platform, I have hundreds and hundreds of solutions to help these kids. And they are all video recorded solutions recorded by me. So all that a parent and teacher has to do is join my program, watch the solution, go and work with the child. That's it, no theory. So how do you play this game? There are 2 coins. One child is odd and the other child is even. Use a dice and use a chessboard. That's it. When you throw the dice, if the dice on the top has even number, the child who has taken the even number is allowed to move from left to right. And when the turn changes and you throw the dice, and if the odd number comes on the top, then the odd child is allowed to move. So the odd child's eyes and brain is all the time focusing on getting the odd number in the dice. The odd number gets reassured in the brain without the knowledge, with fun. Now you'll ask me, the numbers are only 1 to 6 in a dice. Yes. But as a teacher, I can create any number of dice, right? I can make it 7 to 12. I can make it 15 to 21, whatever I want. Yes or no? Dice are simple things. Put bindi, it becomes. And all that a child needs is to know till 1 to 20. If they know 1 to 20, I think 1 to billion is also easy. Difficulty in recognizing numbers, the best tool that I tell you to use is dice. Pre-primary, use as much of dice as you can. They get registered with these things much faster. Concepts, to get all the concepts clear, what Maria Montessori says works for all children, which actually she used for mentally retarded children, but we are now using it in regular schools, are all the tools that you can use to teach maths. The more you use them in your early childhood, the better are their concepts at the older age. The last one is dyspraxia. What's dyspraxia? Look at this beautiful girl. What is she trying to say? She says, I'm messy, I'm chaotic, I'm not punctual, I'm not motivated, I forget things, I mess in the kitchen or at the dining table, I waste papers, but I'm intelligent. What if I do all this? Can you help me to overcome these problems? I am still intelligent. I can deal with things. So thank you for your comments. That keeps my energy on. Another 5 minutes and I'll be welcoming questions. So how do children who have problem with body coordination? There are many exercises that we can do in normal classroom, not only for this child, but for everybody. That's what it talks about inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is involving every member of the institution in supporting these kids. Simple. It's not about those parents or those children. For me, inclusive school is from the watchman to the director. Everybody should know about these challenges and how they can contribute in helping these kids. Another very lovely exercise that I love, when you can't hold a pencil, a pen, a mobile, everything drops off from the hand. What do? So I play this game with these kids. This is called pen spin. Pen spin is holding the pen between your 2 fingers. Now, those children who have weak fine motor skills, the pencil will drop very often. So how do I play this? I give them a time, 1 minute time. In 1 minute, you have to spin this. How many times? And this will fall at least 20 to 30 times. So every time it falls, the child has to pick it up again and do it. So what your hand doing? Unconsciously, your fine motor and gross motor activities happening together. Exercise, work, problem solved. Another problem, coordination. Eye-hand coordination, very weak in these kids. So this is another game that I play. Truck, even in senior school, I play this game with drawing the map on the floor, especially if you're teaching business studies or geography or something, and ask these kids to use a truck to travel from place A to place B through a route. For the child, it's only academic, but for me, it's an exercise that I'm making the child do to reach A to reach B. And all these small little additions in their daily life helps them to overcome their challenge. Kids break these pencils, and because their grip is so bad, very frequently they'll break all these crayons. What do? Again, there are wonderful exercises. All this is generally done in preschool, but I do it even to a senior school teenage child, because it's all about fine tuning their muscles. Poor grip, another exercise. Everything a parent and a teacher can do. So they were some of the solutions I could provide in the time given to me, and I have hundreds of them in my online platform. All those who wish to join me, welcome. I'll only be happy to help you. So let me now share with you some success stories. So you can see these are the kids who studied in my school. Yeah. She failed in class 10th twice. Attempted to commit suicide. Parents brought her to us. We had to start working from her basics. But within 2 years, she did her 10th, then she did her 12th, then she did a bachelor's in nutrition. Now she's married and settled, happily working for an organization. School removed this boy in class 7, repeated class 7 twice. Dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, all the 3 problems. Today he's an architect. When he joined me, he said, the first thing he said, I don't want to study. And I said, you don't need to study. Do what you feel like. And what he did was he used to play in motor machines, mixie, grinder. These are the things that fascinated him. So I would bring all those things and teach him spellings through that. Teach the spellings of the equipments that he was playing with, which he loved, instead of learning about something in history. That excited him to continue reading, writing. He did his 10th and 12th through open schooling. And finally, today he's an architect, passed out from Canada. Another boy stayed in boarding school for 6 years. Age 13, after repeating class 6 3 times, CBSE school, big name, removed from the school because he couldn't cope up. He was brought to our center, completely shattered as a teenager. We had to start from scratch. He was a visual learner, so I had to use only pictures and diagrams to teach him, no reading at all. He picked up reading later, finally he was very good in photography. So he decided to become a photographer. And now he's an entrepreneur, having his own studio, making very good money, and he's a name in my city. I see his hoardings everywhere. I feel so good. I feel sorry for all the schools who will miss these kids, and I feel so proud to look at them today, because each one of them is a star in their own world. Look at this boy. He's doing amazing in theater. He left the school in class 7. Another girl came from Canada to our school. She was a special child, had lots of emotional issues. She studied in our center for a year, completed her 10th. Now she's married, settled, living happily in Canada, and she runs a preschool for special children. Isn't that amazing? How did I help them? The board that helped me, I left all the boards because I worked for all the 5 boards in our country as a leader. And I did a research with all the boards, and what helped them best is open schooling. NIS, I'm sure most of you know about it. If not, please explore. NIS is amazing for children who are struggling or who are slow, who take time, who need time, but all of them can do their 10th and 12th and select subjects of their choice. Because NIS allows you to take 5 subjects out of 40, and 5 only 1 language. Most of the problem with these kids are language. So I asked them to take only 1 language and choose any 5 of the other subjects. NIOS is the largest open schooling system in the country, in the world, and it is recognized across the world. All my 300 boys and girls are today successfully living, passed out their graduation or post-graduation or business or married or settled or whatever. NIS, the other benefit of NIS is there's no age limit. You need to be only 14-year-old to register for class 10 or 15, and you can choose any subjects. And NIS also has from class 1 to class 8. The best is it gives you 5 years to complete your class 10. 5 years, and 9 attempts. So these are the subjects that you can choose from. It has 10th and 12th both, and it's recognized all over the world. I promote NIS a lot. So thank you so much for the wonderful time I got with you. It's exactly 5:45. I have 15 minutes to answer your questions. If you wish to connect with me on the screen, I have shared my number, my email ID, and the website, how I'm able to reach out to parents and teachers. Thank you, Mr. Binimon, all the audience, all the teachers, parents, principals, heads of schools, directors. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about my favorite subject. The conclusion is, please don't brand children. Wear brand clothes and feel proud about it. They don't need to be branded. They still can be helped. Thank you so much. Any questions? Thank you for all your wonderful comments. Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi. Thank you, Arti. Share my link of YouTube. You just type my name, LD Bala Saraswati. You will get my, I have a YouTube channel where I keep giving resources, and Facebook. I do a lot of social media so that any parent who needs any kind of help can actually help the child. Thank you, Narzrana, Karthik, Supriya, Kala, Sangeeta, Chitra, Kartika, Mukul, Supriya. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much that you found the session valuable. If there are any questions, yes, Supriya. Could you come on the camera if it's okay?
Dear participants, the right time to ask questions. So if you want to ask question, you just open your camera and use hand raise. Okay.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to ask, the session was really impressive, but there may be a child who has missed his education in the middle. Maybe he did grade 1, grade 2 very well, but because of some consequences, he could not cope up in grade 3. There may be health issues and all. So do we need to think like, he must have forgotten everything, even to write at times, not able to read. Basically, main thing is like reading Hindi maybe become very big challenge for the child after 2-3 years when he has or she has missed it a lot. So how can we, bring those type of children back to track? If you can guide us for that, something.
See, there's only one line. Listening is natural, reading is not. Okay. We learn languages just naturally. I know more than 16 languages just because I'm a daughter of an army officer. I've traveled across the country. Every new city I went, I'm a student of Kendra Vidyalaya. Everywhere I went, I had to pick up a new language.
Correct.
So that came very naturally to me. I didn't have to make effort. But reading is not. Reading is an effort, which the brain, your eyes, and your system does. So if you put that effort and help the child, anybody can read. Anybody can read at any age. It has nothing to do with you missed something for 2 years or 3 years. Okay. So restart with the child. He or she will be able to do it at any age.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Really, it's gonna, it was really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Supriya. There's a question in the chat box. Ma'am, I identified a student in my class who makes different noises in the class. Is quite calm in AE period. I don't know what's AE. How to deal with this problem? Is he a normal kid, or does he fall in some other art education? Is he assessed for some disability or something like that? He's just a normal kid who's having fun making noises. Because without that, I won't be able to. Because if he's an autistic kid, then he'll continue making noises. It's not in his hand. It's not noise that an autistic child makes. It is the talk that the autistic child is doing, which to us sounds like noise because they don't have speech. Their auditory systems are not developed. Nowadays, a child got low marks. They fixed he or she a slow learner. Is it true? Yeah, it's true. People do that. Why should we do that? That's what I said. I was learning slow. I'm not a slow learner. Today also, I'm learning slow in technology. I take time to understand technology, but I learn so many other things probably. So you have different likes and different interests towards things. Sukumari.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. First of all, thanks a bunch for your wonderful session with just like an eye-opener session, I could say. But then the writing by using the graph paper is extremely a new thing for me. We can also, I think, practice in our school. Then one thing I want to ask you, ma'am. I understand from your session that in your center, you are doing such kind of different tools and techniques to help the children like this. But my feel or sad feel is that, we all know that each and every class, we may have 3 to 4 students like this. They need individual or extra care. So is it possible for the teachers, ordinary teachers in our school, to teach like you said in the class itself? Because ma'am, we all know that few children are bright students, a few others will be average, and surely I am speaking, few students will be there like you said.
Good.
So how can we help those children in our class?
The same question is asked to me the 1000th time. Okay. The same question is asked to me the 1000th time. What you asked me now. And I have the same answer to tell, which I believe in. Ask yourself, do you teach bright children? Ask yourself, are you there to teach bright kids? Tell me one teacher who spends time on 96% and 98%. They were born with it. They are born with 80%. Who needs you? They go to tuition. They have the wonderful parents. They follow up. They are self-learners. They see YouTube. They do everything. Kids above 75% don't need me. I never taught a child who was bright. What do I do with a bright child who khud karta hai sab kuch? When I was heading a school, when a teacher came to me and used to feel proud saying, ma'am, my boy got 96. My first question to the teacher would be, what was his score when he came to your class the first day? Ma'am, 93. Oh, 1 year and 3%. What are you feeling proud about? The parent worked and the child worked, nothing great. But if there is a child who was scoring 10 and he's reached 15 or 20, yes, that's where the teachers made a difference. So ask yourself, are you actually working? If you have 40 children in the classroom, are you actually spending a lot of time on the brighter ones? They don't need you only. They are like, mat padhao, hum log padh lenge. Especially after online, they don't want teachers. Number 2 category, come below that, are the children who fall between 50 to 70. Those kids only need direction and push and guidance regularly, a pat, a touch, a motivation. This is what I used to. And they would slide through and move to the next level. So who needs you? Why did I become a teacher? Who became a doctor? Why did you become a doctor? To go and treat healthy people? Of course not. You became a doctor to treat weak. So if you realize you became a teacher not to complete syllabus, which the syllabus can be done even otherwise, is to help children who are struggling. You will find your answers to yourself. The second point is, these 2-3 children can be helped by their peer also. Why don't we involve the peer and give them the share and care responsibility? All kids can do it. That's what is inclusive education talking about. We need to involve from the watchman to the director in every organization to call it an inclusive school. Inclusive school is not about having a bunch of special educators, counselors, therapists, that's it. No, it's about me as a principal knowing everything. If I can't personally help, at least I should have empathy, sympathy to understand what the child goes through. So ask yourself today, sit down, close your eyes and think. Do you think you can address that small group now?
Ma'am, one more question in the chat box.
Yes.
Can an autistic child learn to speak after the age of 16 years? Speech therapy is not working with the boy. What can we do?
I'm not an autistic expert at all. I'm a learning disability person. So please, this question should be there, but generally the answer is no.
Okay.
because if their vocal cords are not developed, sometimes they can't. But it depends on child to child. If they're able to say a few words, maybe with a lot of practice, they do develop. So it's a very individual child's response.
Participants, if any questions, you can just unmute your video.
Should there be segregation done in the class as per performance so that children with difficulty can be helped? I am not in favor of that. I believe ask the smart ones to help the weak ones. Simple. My policies are very different. I don't fit into the CBSE rules. Because if I think I'm very smart, it's like this, you know. When you meet somebody very rich, what do you expect that person to do? Donate some amount to others. CSR fund. So I tell my bright boys and girls to do this CSR. Do CSR. You are helping somebody, you get blessing, problem solved. Give them responsibility, they'll all do it. So no segregation required. But identification and help required. I'm a teacher to help the one who needs. Thank you, Supriya. Excellent session. Thank you. Any more questions? There's one long one by Vijay Lakshmi. Some children will be reading fluently, but they will be holding the book upside down. This is my personal experience with my brother and his son too. After I became a teacher, I assessed them to have them dyslexic, of course. We couldn't do anything for my brother, but we approached the school for my nephew and helped him. You can still do for your brother. I work for adults. I work with a lot of adults dyslexic who couldn't do a lot then, but they can still be taught, mind you. I have students from Canada and I have students from other places who come online with me and take sessions for senior school. I mean, for their adulthood. Marks-oriented schools only they expect. I don't know what it means. Great idea of CSR. Thank you, ma'am. After 2 years of online education, are children able to concentrate after 10 to 15 minutes? How to help out? Why don't we become video games ourselves? Where is the concentration gone? The concentration is gone because we are not interesting, not because they don't have concentration. How can they hold a video game for 1.5 to 2 hours? What is that? That is concentration only. So if they are not able to concentrate in my class, I think I am the weak point, not the child. If I do something amazing in the class all the time and keep that concentration held, I don't find any reason why they will not be. My brother's son is normal, but he's very average in study. He's too missing the spelling while writing. But he can be helped, Ashwini. Am I given a chance to just share my platform? Vijumon? Can I do that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So this is my platform, which is called LD Remedial World. I'll quickly share with all of you. So my mission is making remedial educators and remedial parents. Okay. So here I have a free course. I just shared a few videos with you. I mean, few solutions with you. Here I have more than 30 free solutions for everybody to learn. And these are the stories of the children whom I work with. So I have a reading solutions blueprint. If you click this, inside this, you will find hundreds and hundreds of video solutions. So my model is, I don't keep doing lectures because nobody has time. So everything is pre-recorded and uploaded and kept. So anybody who wants to learn comes and joins my program, clicks here and finds videos, watches all these videos, goes and works with the child, finds solution, that's it. It's so simple. Also, when you work with children, you have doubts. You don't know what to do sometimes. For that, I've created this forum. It's called Reading Solutions Forum. And in this forum, any teacher or parent can ask questions 24/7. That's the beauty. So here I click and you will be able to see hundreds of comments. All this is questions. You can see this 245 comments. Every day, somebody or the other parent teacher keeps writing questions and I all the time answer them. Oh, you could not see till now? Can all of you see this, the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's how I help them with 24/7 support. is not only watching video, but getting help 24. I don't want the teachers to reinvent the wheel, which is already there, done for them. So here I have golden rules for parents. There are games that you can play with the children. There are dyspraxia solutions for reading problem. Another, every tile you click. Also government provisions. So anybody, people, don't need to go to many places. You click here, I've written what is the provision CBSE is giving, ICS is giving, NIS is giving. Everything is provided in one platform. Also, if the child wants to go through NIOS, all these videos are there. How you can register a child for NIS exam. What are the ways you can prepare a child for NIS exam? Why NIS is so beneficial for these kids. Not only that, I have a list of psychologists pan-India. So if a parent doesn't know where to go, parent of Himachal Pradesh connects with me and says, ma'am, bachche ka assessment kahan karana hai? So I said, go to the system. You will find the list of Himachal Pradesh. All these psychologist lists are here. Just go, which city you live, pick up that, go do your assessment, get the solution. So my mission is help a parent and a teacher in every way possible. If something I'm not doing, a teacher tells me, I create a model again and I put it there. Okay, this is where you're stuck. I'll help you. So here I have hundreds of worksheets and mind maps. I remember I was talking to you all about graphic organizers and mind maps. So these are all free completely. You join my program, everything is yours. You can download. You see this? How many mind maps are there? I'll keep on scrolling. You'll see mind maps, different kinds of mind maps, which you can use any age group from pre-primary to class 12. So the teachers and parents download it and use it for their children. And also worksheets, plenty of worksheets of word reading, or they're all designed specifically for these kind of children. How do you break words? So this is for reading, and similarly I have a model for writing. This is reading, then this is for writing. Again, this is for maths. This is for body coordination. So once a teacher joins for all the four, she pays the one-time fee. She's with me for lifetime membership. After that, I promote that teacher in my platform only. You'll see that. I'll just show you. So all those teachers who want to work on students after that, like now they have left their jobs and joined me and become entrepreneurs. So those teachers, I promote them in my platform like this. See, I put their profile. So they're all teachers who have, maybe they're working in school, but they are also doing online teaching to children across the country. Maybe they have left their jobs and now they are only focusing on online remedial education for children across the country, because remedial fees is very high in India. Parents pay if you're a good teacher. So all of them are promoted. Every other day, a new person is ready with a profile and I upload there. So this is how my system works. Any one of you wish to join are welcome to do that. Yes, sorry, sir.
Ma'am, it's absolutely brilliant, awesome, because there is no way to say that. Today we learned a lot. I think that all the entire teachers, because we are getting a lot of messages flowing. And you have given solutions and decluttered the minds of everyone the teachers joined today. It's very insightful, because no need to comment more about your session. Absolutely brilliant. And we hope that you will join again with us in Panchandra platform. So it will be beneficial for everyone, no doubt at all. And more than that, you have given solution, tools, everything. And teachers started thinking about this. One of our directors, Radhakrishnan sir, also joined now, right now. Radhakrishnan sir, I hope that you can also just comment about ma'am's session, because I was really stunned. That's I
was traveling still. I could listen to ma'am completely. Just now I reached home. It was wonderful, really wonderful. I could listen right from the beginning, and each word is valuable.
Correct.
And recently, such a wonderful session on this differentiated learning, I can say about this. It's really wonderful. It opened even my eyes. I really appreciate it, and thank you for coming to Panchatantra Parent platform. And as Binuman told, we will expect you again on our platform. We will invite you. And I hope all the attendees will make use and contact ma'am if you have any problem in your school, because addressing the problems of the children, that is very important at the right time, because parents are depending on us. Parents don't have much ideas about all these things.
Absolutely.
And it's not possible for them. And we are the specialists. As educators, we are the specialists. So each and every teacher should convert themselves into counselors. So it is our duty to get to know how a child should be helped. And here is ma'am, and she is telling she's ready to help. And she has got an amazing, a wonderful website. I was going through when she was talking about it. It is amazing. There are plenty of, what I can say, plenty of things loaded into that. I think it's an effort of 25 years of her career. And she is giving it to you, giving it to all of us. So it is our duty to make use. And once again, ma'am, thank you so much for coming to Panchatantra Planet's platform. And the title itself says everything. And whenever we put up the poster, many people contacted me from different parts of the world. We are so much interested. It is so beautiful. So thank you. The session was also so wonderful, just like the title of the session. It is totally different. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Somebody asked me, can they share my YouTube or whatever? If I'm allowed, I like to share it here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So you can click on all this and connect with me from anywhere. You don't need to be a part of my community. It's not important. You wish to become a remedial educator, you're welcome to do that. You can join my courses, do it and help people, because you know how many children need help? 35 million.
Yeah.
I am not even doing a drop in that 35 million. And I can't do it alone. I need people like you to get this serious. Like you have IIT coaching classes, we need remedial coaching classes to help our children. Otherwise, we will have adults who are incapable. So I don't want to grow old having adults around me who are incapable because I did not work on them. 20 years from now, these young boys and girls will be adults and they'll all be incapable because we didn't address their problem and they're intelligent. We don't want Osama bin Laden in our country. We want Einsteins in our country. And for that, we have to take charge of the situation, not the parents. I never blame the parents. They have enough in their hands already. We are professionals. We decided to become teacher. We decided to become trainers. So why don't we take it up on us? Thank you so much, so much, so much. God bless you all.
Dear participants, and even Panchatantra Planet also will share our YouTube link. So there, this video is available. You can watch again and again and learn, because you have to watch again and again. That much it is resourceful, no doubt.
I want to add one thing. Ma'am was telling 34 million or something. What I wanted to tell all the teachers, those who are attending this session on this Zoom platform and also on YouTube channel, what I wanted to say is each and every child coming to us, they need support in one way or the other. It is the duty of us to identify what type of support they need. Sometimes maybe a child is scoring 100 out of 100, but that child may need support in emotional intelligence or emotional quotients, whatever we call it, or in social skills. So what we should understand is we should try to understand each and every child and cater to what the child needs.
Correct.
If you can do that, you are the right teacher. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Once again, on behalf of Panchatantra Planet, I would like to thank. Officially, the session is going to wind up because almost time is extended more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, I have a session also.
Yeah. Right now, I will call S. Sunil Kumar, sir, the principal of KABD School near Marthandam. He's here, sir. I would like to invite you for proposal.
Tell the feedback links are shared.
Feedback links also shared. You kindly fill up the feedback links and visit our YouTube channel also. Then you'll get all these videos. Sunil, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening to everyone present over here. Honorable Chief Guest of the day, Madam Bala Saraswati, respected directors of Panchatantra Planet, Mr. Radhakrishnan, Principal of United India School, Kuwait, Mr. Binimon, Principal of Adarsh Vidya Kendra, Nagargovil, and the other director, Shaiju sir, the Principal of Excel School, Belgaum, Karnataka. And all the participants. It is an honor for me to get this opportunity to thank you all. On behalf of Panchatantra Planet, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, the resource person, Bala Saraswati Madam. We cannot express thanks to ma'am by our words. We can express thanks to ma'am by becoming a part of fraternity of madam's remedial world, LD remedial world. And especially salute to ma'am for her patience, dedication in organizing such a tremendous laborious work to see that there are no adults who are incapable when they grow up, so that we don't find any Osama bin Laden.
Sir is there. He's muted actually. Yeah.
So as madam was telling, she is not interested in finding adults who are incapable. Neither she wants any Osama bin Ladens, but she in turn wants the great personalities, towering personalities like Einstein. So it is something which people can only talk, but walking the talk is very difficult. And by the volumes of work that madam has created on website and which she is making available through her platform to the people who need it, and also the connectivity of the people who need assistance in different ways. So pranamam to ma'am for her humble work. She explained and she always used all the examples, which has created a sort of live atmosphere for all the people who are sitting in different corners, in different parts of the country. But still, they were able to visualize what ma'am was trying to reveal through her presentation. Ma'am was giving certain things in her presentation as who is an inclusive teacher, what is an inclusive school. So in very short and simple way, she told right from the watchman to the director. And she also told that there are different types of disabilities, which we all don't know. Maybe 21 types of disabilities to the ma'am listed. And she compartmentalized that into 4 types of disabilities. And she highlighted on the ways in which children can be educated, especially the children with these disabilities. How the consonants and vowels can be projected in front of the child, how the child can be made to find out the odd numbers and even numbers through the exercise that ma'am has. And not only that, ma'am was also telling about how we can create a common understanding among the educators who can come together and always work for the benefit of the child. And this concept is somewhere related to differentiated learning, what CBSE tries to inculcate in the process of teaching learning. Ma'am, really, we are thankful to you from the bottom of our heart for such a wonderful session, for such a wonderful extensive coverage of the topic that you have taken us through an amazing journey. And all the participants, they were very live on the chat box, and even some participants, they came live to ask the questions, like Sumari Pillai ma'am and Supriya Virangna ma'am, who came online to ask the questions. Not only that, today's session, I saw that Binu sir and Radhakrishnan sir were complimenting you because they felt that your presence will be inevitable for our forum in the future as well. So really, ma'am, it was an amazing presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm blessed to have got connected.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to organize an event like this, it will not happen overnight. The wheels started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very well motivated, dedicated colleagues of Panchatantra Planet. Thanks to Radhakrishnan sir, to Binu sir, to Shaiju sir. And finally, I would like to thank and place on record our hearty thanks to Robinson for the perfect logical support and guidance that he has extended to all of us in this webinar. I must thank the organizing team, volunteers for working hard for the past few days to make this webinar successful. I congratulate all the participants for their active participation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, once again for making a great success. We thank you for being with us this evening. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maman Sangeet.
Thank you, Sunil sir. Thank you, Sunil sir, for the wonderful vote of thanks.
Thank
And
you,
also to our audience. Next week, we will be back with another wonderful session on happiness in schools. So we will be introducing plenty of activities that you can integrate with your teaching. And an expert from Mumbai is joining with us next week. It will be next week, next Saturday on 5:30. We will be sharing the details on our social media platforms. Please check and be back next week at 5:30 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am,
you,
once
ma'am.
again.
Thank you so
ma'am.
much. Thank you. But for
Thank you.
Bijumon sir's call, I would have thought it's not there today.
today morning once
It's
again.
coincidental again.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.